Hello out there everybody, my name is Kevin. I'm the senior member of the CryptoFred 76 Networks. Me and my son have made a bunch of videos. You've probably seen them on YouTube. If not, hopefully you can check them out. If you look for CryptoFred 76, 76 is spelled out with a hyphen, on the YouTube channel, you'll find our movies. But today I'm going to do something a little different. A friend of mine a couple of weeks ago mentioned to me that he did not like the Playskool Thor figure because it could not put the hammer down. It was permanently attached to his hand, as you can see here. That's how it is. And he asked me if I knew of a way to make a Thor who could put the hammer down. He didn't like that he had to carry it all the time. So I brainstormed for a little while and I came up with this. This is our Thor that we use with our toys. Now it's been a little extra customizing happened here on the cape, and he's got a little beard action going on to look a little bit more like the movie Thor. That's what my son's like. But he also has this hammer that he does not need to hold all the time. Comes right out of his hand. Whoops. Right here. Here's his hammer. On the ground. Here he is. No hammer. The original Thor. The customized one. Here's his hammer. Now this was so easy to do that I decided to make a little video to show you people how I did it. It's very simple. You don't need a whole lot of things. You do need to use the stove though, because you're going to need to boil some water. I have here a pot of water, not yet boiled, some tongs, a pair of scissors, an old Imaginext figure. Now the important thing here is that he has flesh colored hands, because we're going to need those hands. He's also missing a head from an earlier project, but don't worry about that. I also have a toothpick, a little bar that we're going to use to make the handle of the hammer with, and a hot glue gun. Just so you know, you can use almost anything to make the handle of that hammer with. We got this lamppost here. I got the wizard staff here. We got Harley Quinn's giant hammer. I got an axe. Alright? First things first, let's boil that water. Okay, we've got the water at a rolling boil here. Very hot. Kids, I know there are kids who might be watching this. Kids, you know you cannot be using the stove by yourself. You need a parent's help. Adults out there, here's what we're going to do. Use the tongs. Take your figure. Stick the hand. It takes about 20 seconds. The hot water, boiling water like this will soften up the plastic enough that you'll be able to pop the hands off. It's called boil and pop. Do it all the time. It's very simple. It literally is just boiling water in about 20 seconds. If you can avoid putting the entire figure in, that's a good idea. That's why I use the tongs, because you'll soften the plastic around the whole figure. Joints get a little weaker. Sometimes legs or something or feet can bend a little bit. You don't want that to happen. Okay, here we go. Take them out. It's going to be very hot, but you can feel that the plastic has softened and it just pulls apart. Maybe not ready yet. There we go. Came right off. Hand, arm. Now, of course, the next thing we do is the other hand. Here we go. Put it right in there. It is hot, of course. It's boiling water. And the steam gets into the cape, too. That's another thing you got to watch out for. That's what I was having trouble with a second ago. The steam gets into the cape. The cape has the hot water in it. You got to be careful of that, too. But if you're careful and it's not so hot that you're going to burn yourself, just got to soften up that plastic enough to get these hands off. Like I said, just about 20 seconds is enough to pop these hands off. And I can feel how soft it is. And this one comes off too. Pop. Hand off. Okay. Now, as you may have guessed, the next step is the Imaginext figure with the flesh-colored hands. Exactly the same procedure. Stick his hand in there, 20 seconds or so, let the plastic soften up, and we're going to pop his hands off too. You don't want to do it too much, you don't want to do it too little. About 20 seconds, 15, 25 seconds, right around 20 seconds is usually enough to pop the hand off. And pops right off. Just that simple. 1 to go. 3 down. One to go. Boiling that hand. Kids, remember, you need a parent or an adult to do this with you. You should not be playing with the stove by yourself. A few more seconds. Pops right off. Pop. Literally just that easy. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, if you compare the hands, this is Thor's hand. Here's the one with the hammer, make it easier to tell the difference. Alright? They're shaped about the same on the inside. I know it's kind of hard to focus with my camera here. Doing the best I can. If you see, it's got a bit of a shape to it. It's got this part right here that pops out, sticks into the back of the hand. It's the same on the Imaginext hand. A little easier to see because of the blue. But this comes out a little further than it does on the Playskool one. They are together again. So, what we need to do is trim it down a little bit. You got to be very careful. You want to keep some of that on there, but not too much. Not too little. It's better to go small, trim a little off, and if you have to trim some more off later, you just trim it again. If you got too much off the first time around, well, I'm sure that you understand how that could be a problem. So, that's looking closer. I might just even it out a little bit. Good. Same deal with the other Imaginext hand. Right here, I'm going to trim some of that off a little bit. And compare it to that. It's not enough. Compare it to the Playskool. It is pretty close now. So now I got these two Imaginext hands, matching, flesh colored, just about the right size to fit back in our Thor figure. Our handless Thor. Here we go. Heat the water up again. Nice boiling water. Now, you don't need to heat the hands up this time, just the ends of the arm. The part you want to soften up is the arm, the wrist, I guess you'd call it, of the figure. The hand you want to keep nice and hard. You don't want to soften that. That's going to be nice and hard. It's going to fit into the softer plastic. So, here we go. This water, I shut it off, turned it back on so it's not boiling quite as rapidly. It's not quite as hot, but let's see. It's enough to soften up the arm a little bit. This hand, see if it's enough. Oh, this hand, I mean. Is gonna pop right in there, yes. And no. Yes. Yes. Look at that. Perfecto. Now we're going to heat up the other wrist. The figure again. The water is back to its nice hot boil, so about 20 seconds again, just like before. You want to soften up that plastic. Here we go. Should go a little smoother because the water is a lot hotter now, as you can probably tell from the boil. I'm feeling it. Still kind of hard. Try again. Shouldn't take long. Softer now. Watch the cape. And pops right on. There we go. Okay, so this next part is probably the hardest part. Not that hard, but it is probably the hardest part of the whole project. The hammer, before I cut this, the hammer, the head of the hammer spins. This is in two pieces. The head and the handle are one piece. The head of the hammer is a different piece. And it's much harder plastic than the head and the handle are made of. But they do not boil and pop off the way I did with the hands. So we're going to take the scissors again, snip it off. Handle's off. Head of the hammer. Okay. Now, the tough part. We need to get in here and dig all of this stuff out. I'm probably not going to do this whole thing on camera. As you can see, I'm just kind of cutting away at it, cutting into the middle of it. I'm going to take the thing and dig the end of my scissors in here. Alright, again, not something kids should be doing at all. This is a product for the grown-ups out there. Good times. Alright, so we're going to need to hollow this thing out. That's what I'm going to work on for the next few minutes. I'll be right back. Stand by. Alright everybody, I'm back. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the camera here, but the inside piece, I've got it in my other hand here. It's pretty chewed up at this point. Just a lot of brown plastic was inside here. This is completely hollowed out now. I'm trying to get an angle that you can see. I don't know if you can see it or not. What I ended up using for the most part is a hobby knife. Alright, gotta be careful. I told you that the plastic on here is a lot harder than the plastic on the hands and the handle. So you can get in there, stick your knife in there, and kind of break up that piece. Just keep cutting away at it. Get that soft plastic to a point where you can pry it all out. Nice and hollow. Okay, now we've got the handle, we've got the hammer. This is going to fit in here. It's loose though. Doesn't fit in here tightly. What I'm going to do, get some of these doodads out of the way. We're going to use the hot glue now. Hot glue gun. Hammer head. Right in here. We're just going to fill this thing up with hot glue. Keep it going. Come on, hot glue. I might actually be running out of hot glue here. Get another glue stick. How embarrassing. And we're back in business. Hot glue. Just get as much in there as you can. Overflowing. Then, take the handle, stick it right in there. Hot glue does not take long to dry. It's going to set in just a couple of seconds. Be able to leave it like that. Take a little more hot glue. Go right around the edge. Right around the edge. Get the glue on there. And this is where that toothpick is actually going to come in handy. I told you to have a toothpick, something very small end. Get some of that glue in there. Sorry. Get it in there, get it in there. Smooth it out a little bit. Hot glue, the customizer's friend. Here we go. Good enough. We're going to let it set. Let it dry, the hot glue, get it all in there. Just going to set it down like this for a little while. Let it dry. It only takes a few minutes. Hot glue does not take long to work, to take effect. We're going to give it a few minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. The last step here is to trim down this handle a bit. Definitely too long for Thor to hold it like this. Looks more like something steel might use. So we'll put it in his hand and do a little measuring. We can use the original handle, which we still have attached to the original hand, for reference, if you want. And just eyeball it, make it feel right wherever you want it. You should have a little bit of room above and a little bit below. Get your scissors out again. And snippety snip. Off we go. Thor's hammer in his hand. That's all there is to it, guys. It's really that easy. This took me, making this video even including, it took me about half an hour to do the whole thing, including the time it took to boil the water and the 10 minutes or so it took me to hollow out the hammerhead. Okay, I got 2 of them here now. 2 Thors with their hammers. And they come out, put them down. Take it out. Take it out. There you go. Just that simple. I hope you guys like this. It's a really easy project to do. It's a good way to get started. There's no painting or anything like that involved. Just popping off hands. Boiling water, little glue, and you're done. And frankly, I think it's a really cool custom to do. It's something that Playskool really could have stepped up on in the first place. I don't really understand why they did it the way they do it, but there you go. Thor, hammer, boom. Have a good one, guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you.